Okay, we're back. It's Thursday, February 13, and look what the SPY did. They got on top of the upper trend line and closed 3 hourly candles above it, and of course, the day. This could mean that some interesting things could happen tomorrow. Let's take a look at the 3 hour chart. I said yesterday, no guarantees it would happen, but if they did happen to come down here and bounce off this lower trend level, that would be a nice bullish consolidation in the making. But at the same time, on the hourly chart, if they went sideways here, got above these trend lines, broke above it, then they could just bust out of this area and have this kind of a bullish flag pattern here. Well, that's what they did. So now you can see this level was important. This trend line was important. They fought it for a few hours. They got above it, so they closed 130, 230, and 330 hourly candles above this trend line. So where are they going? Well, one thing that's interesting is with a move like that, there's a possibility that we'll see some type of opposite reaction tomorrow. But just to point a couple obvious things out, the high of this daily candle back on January 31 was 609.96. So put a line there. I think it was 2 pennies away from that today. The high was 609.94. 609.96 versus 609.94. 2 pennies away for the high, closed near the highs. That's pretty strong. Could be a fake out. I'm not saying one way or the other. Still have to fight the most recent all-time high, which is 610.78 cents. 610.78. So probably going to provide some type of reaction. Not really sure at this point if I'm going to include that as a level in the morning. We'll see what it looks like in the morning. However, that is obviously an area that the bulls have to get above to explore new highs. If they happen to fall in the morning, they could bounce in the trend line. They get below it, they're just back in the range. We have more time before something bigger can happen. Seems to be a little premature that they pulled up this strong. Anything can happen to the market, of course. I'm just pointing out that I thought it might take until tomorrow for them to make a bigger move. But here they are. So at face value, the bulls are in charge. By tomorrow morning, of course, I'll have more refined levels, and some of that depends on what they're doing in the pre-market. At 9:05 a.m. Eastern, that's 25 minutes before the opening bell, this was the email that was sent out with the levels and the game plan, and you can read through this at your leisure. Here are the levels on the 1-minute chart as plotted for the day, including the 2 trend lines that came into play. What I'm not showing are a level and a trend line below that too far down. Price never got that far. So let's just talk about what happened. So while they did come down into 603.33 and bounce very nicely, I actually took a trade there. We'll talk about that later. It's before our window of opportunity. So 9:45, we want to start looking for trades. So 9:45, they're up here. They eventually went up to 605.24. So that becomes 605.19 operating level. We're going to move price 5 cents toward price, and you'll see in a minute that's going to come in handy for a trade later. So that was a nice base hit right there, at least 4 points. Same thing here at the trend line, although we're not going to adjust the trend line because it is what it is, but somewhere in the neighborhood of 606.25 or whatever, they hit this, pulled back, there's another base hit. Base hit number 2. Same thing for this trend line, you would have gone short. They didn't pull back here, but they went up to not 607.52. We're going to trigger our trade at 607.47. That is 5 cents below the price from the morning, and that pulled the trade in because the high, you should be able to see it visually, but the high was 607.49, so spiked it by 2 pennies. You're already in the short trade here, so that combined position gave you base hit number 3. Because you've gone short at all these levels so far, you're not going to go short again. You're not going to go long here because you want more time to pass, so you're ignoring all this. Now, it gets down to this trend line, the top of it. You can go long here if you want. By the time you were filled in a long position here, around 606.60 or so, they did not pull up high enough. You want it to go 40 cents, which would be roughly 607 even. And they came up within pennies, and then immediately came back down to your entry point. That would be a near miss of your profit objective. And the smart thing to do is jump out at a wash. That would save you the trouble for them going lower because you're in the long position at this point. You expect them to bounce from this point. That's them telling you that price is likely to go lower, and they did. So you jumped out at a wash, or maybe you gained a few points, or maybe lost a point or two. But the point is, you had a clue that this level or trading at that trend line was probably not going to work out for you. So they're below, they're coming back up. We're not going to go short here. We've done it already. But they come down into, well, let me just point out this first. This little anomaly here was just that. It was an anomaly. Kind of interesting they came within pennies of the level down here, but it didn't happen in real time. But down here at 1:20 p.m., they came into the level we had, 605.24, I think was the original level. So we're going to add 5 cents. So here we are. Either way, you would have had a base hit as they bounced there. Continued your way up. I've lost count. Several base hits at this point. I think there was 5 total because we're not going to go short here, short here, short there. And now they're up to 608.48, which is 608.43. And here we have a high of 608.41, 2 pennies before they come down to, you guessed it, where a base hit would have been, right in this neighborhood. You want 40 cents. Since that was a near miss, they didn't pull you into the trade, your trigger would not have been activated. And then you see 4 points in the E-minis a few minutes later. Consider that the trade. Do not trigger it the next time they come up into it. And this is exactly why, because the chances are increased that this bullish trend is going to continue for the rest of the day. And they did. Went up. So 5 base hits if you were playing by the rules. In order, official trades, 1 base hit, 2nd base hit, 3rd and 4th base hit. This was a wash, so no profit gain there. That's a base hit. That's number 5 because by the time we got up to this level, it's a near miss, so no points pulled on that level. I'll show you the one trade that I took. Notice the time. It's 9:27 in the morning. It's before the opening bell, and I was already looking for opportunities before that 15-minute window passed because I had a 10 o'clock meeting scheduled that I knew would take some time, an hour to hour and a half or so. And there's things after that I had to work on. So I thought if I'm going to take a trade today, it needs to be early on. So maybe I can find a quick opportunity. They went up to 605.24. Looked like they were going to hit it. So I put a limit order on the E-mini chart to sell 2 contracts, thinking I can get a quick reaction there. As you know, they didn't go that high, at that time at least. So I canceled that order, and they came down to 603.33. This is all before 9:45. Put a limit order to buy 2 contracts in the vicinity. Got filled. They bounced, as you know. So I got my 4 points, a base hit at 603.33, all before 9:45, and I was happy with that. So I let this go, and I was gone for a while from this point on because 10 o'clock I was away. So it wasn't until maybe a quarter or so after 11 I came back in front of my computer, kind of looked at things for a while. Let's see, after 11 o'clock is here. I'm going to let this play. And I saw what they did and decided, well, all this has been done. I can't take any trades here. I might consider 608.48 if they get up there. Kept on it for maybe 15, 20, 25 minutes or so. And then ultimately decided I'm not going to do anything else. I'll just take that 4 points, the $400, and be happy with it. They didn't go up here until the end of the day anyway. So you see all the levels are dotted, except for down here. I wasn't even worried about it. And then that was it. So I'll just let this go until, I don't know, after I got back from lunch or so, 1 o'clock or so, and I stopped this recording. Wasn't planning on doing anything else, and no need to let it continue to run because I wasn't going to take any more trades. So that's my one trade. And we can compare and contrast my trades with the official trades. So much happened here. I put this on 2 lines. You can read through all this. Starting at level 2, wasn't triggered because of that, 15-minute window time constraint. If you're playing by the rules, then everything else, a base hit at least once, and then a final base hit on that recycle on level 3. So 5 total, that's 20 points if you're pulling 4 points per trade at a minimum. So I'd say that's pretty commendable. And here's my one little measly trade. It was very easy though. So a lot of green over here on the playing by the rules. These max loss limits don't matter all that much when you have enough base hits. And then just a lot less trades for me. My win rate's a little higher, but my averages are lower because I just have less trades. You can see the rate of return, the total so far this year. And over in the PBR, the playing by the rules, we're at 38.5% so far in 2025. I am curious if any of you guys made money today with the levels, even without knowing the nuances, which I think at this point, if you've been paying attention, you should have a pretty decent idea of how I trade these levels every single day, like the near misses and all that. There can be some uncertainty perhaps if you don't know all the rules, but anyway, today there were some easy trades. So let me know. I'd be curious to know if you're making money using the daily levels. Thanks in advance for the feedback. But that's a wrap for today. Tomorrow could get interesting. There will be a game plan in the morning. As you know, there will be new levels. And let's plan to end the week on a good note. I'll talk to you in the next recap video, which may be some point during the weekend. I've got to catch a flight tomorrow afternoon, so won't be making a video tomorrow. Could be over the weekend, depends on if I have time. Quick trip, get back Sunday evening. But in any case, thanks again for watching. I appreciate each of you. Have a great day.